Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to another week of distant learning. This week, we're starting our new unit, which is on trees, and I've given you some assignments on seesaw based on that, and it's super pretty today, so I hope you got to go outside and see some trees around your neighborhood and got to collect some things about that. Also, this week, we are going to do I don't know if I'd call it an author study, but it's kind of like an author study. So on your YouTube videos in the evenings, Miss Sarah, Miss Diana, and Miss Amanda are going to be reading you different stories by an author and an illustrator. And the one we're going to do this week is behind me, and I'm going to scoot over so you can see it. And the author, remember, the author is the person who writes the words, writes the book. Her name is Lara Numeroff, and our illustrator, and that is the person who draws the pictures, is Felicia Bond. And those books are, and I know we probably have some in our classroom, and I think we've read some before. If you give a blank, and I have some over here. So one of them is, if you give a mouse a cookie. If you give a mouse a brownie. If you give a dog a donut. If you give a pig a party, woohoo! If you give a cat a cupcake. Oh, I got two more over here. Oh, can't reach. If you give a moose a muffin. And if you take a mouse to school. Now, there's a couple more of those that Miss Sarah does not own. There's one if you give a pig a pancake. And I think there's a couple more I might not have. But it's basically if you give a animal, insert an animal, a something, then they're going to want something else. So I'm going to read our first one. And it was the very first one that our author Laura Numeroff wrote, and it is if you give a mouse a cookie. So let me scoot back over here. All right. If you give a mouse a cookie, and if you see, right there's Mr. Mouse, and the names of the author and the illustrator down there. So let's read our first one. If you give a mouse a cookie. If you give a mouse a cookie, there he is, sitting there, offering the mouse the cookie. He's going to ask for a glass of milk. I like milk with my cookies, too. When you give him the milk, he'll probably ask you for a straw. There he is. When he's finished, he'll ask you for a napkin. Because he's got it all over his face, he needs a napkin. Then I want to look in the mirror to make sure he doesn't have a milk mustache. When he looks into the mirror, he might notice his hair needs trimmed. So he'll probably ask you for a pair of nail scissors. Do not try this at home, boys and girls. When he's finished giving himself a trim, he'll want a broom to sweep it up. He'll start sweeping. He might get carried away and sweep every room in your house. I wish I could hire a mouse to sweep my house. He may even end up washing the floors as well. When he's done, he'll probably want to take a nap. You'll have to fix up a little box for him with a blanket and a pillow. He'll crawl in, make himself comfy, fluff the pillow a few times. He'll probably ask you to read him a story. It's a very needy mouse. So you'll read him from one of your books. Then he'll ask to see the pictures. When he looks at the pictures, he'll get so excited, he'll want to draw one of his own. So he'll ask for paper and crayons. He'll draw a picture. There he is with the green crayon. I see a brown and an orange and a gray and a yellow and a blue. when the picture is finished, wow, look at that. He's a really good artist. He'll want to sign his name with a pen. Then he'll want to hang his picture on your refrigerator, which means he'll need, what do you think he'll need? Scotch tape. I usually use a magnet, but he wants tape. He'll hang up his drawing and stand back to look at it. Looking at the refrigerator will remind him that he's thirsty. So he'll ask for a glass of milk. And chances are, if he asks for a glass of milk, he's going to want a cookie to go with it. The end. So, it started out, you gave him a cookie, and he wanted all of those things, and then in the end, he still wanted a cookie. And that's kind of how all of the books by Laura Numeroff are. If you give the animals something, they go through a whole line of things, and then at the end, they still want that something again. So we're going to read a couple of these. Some of your homework assignments on Seesaw have to do with the mouse and the cookies, and we may even do a directed drawing of the mouse and a cookie. So stay tuned for that this week, and you'll be hearing back from me. Bye.